to Silicon Valley Impact, where business insight meets startup innovation. Brought to you live from Silicon Valley, California. Please give a warm welcome to your host, Brian Sparks.
Yes, the highlight of my week. Brian letting it rip.
All right, so
gnarly letting it rip, Brian. Good
hey,
to see you,
Brian,
buddy.
how are you?
Yeah, good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you. I'm going to look over at you for a second just to acknowledge that you're over there, but then I'm going to look back at you on the screen over here. I sometimes wonder if people think, where is that guy in relative to all things?
Yeah, let them know, Brian, where they can find you.
You can find
on
me
the
over
screen
here.
and
Yeah.
how they can follow you.
Well, I only pop up every once in a while over here in the corner, or
Yeah.
sometimes, but I rarely use it. I could fill the screen with my beautiful
Look at that face. Look at that face.
and everybody could see me.
Look
but
at that punum.
Generally, it's just me over there in the corner.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I was in high school. Oh, that's Brian over in the corner.
Yes.
I liked it there. I don't know. It was comforting.
The punishment of Gen Xers when you were a kid, get in the corner, soap in the mouth.
Right.
Yeah,
Do you remember those high school dances
Good
where all
old
the
days.
guys were on one side and the girls were on the other?
Oh,
and it
yeah.
was just so awkward. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
You're
Right.
You're taking Jonathan back.
knows. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right.
Brian, good to see you. Thank
Nice
you for
to see you too. You got any things that you've been involved with? I know that. Hey, wait. I know that you've been involved with a lot. You always are. So
Yeah.
what do you want to talk about today? What do you want to crow about today?
Well, as we're recording this, it's going to be happening this week, but as this is launched, it will have happened last week. Vessel, who was here last week, I believe it was,
Yeah.
he is doing TechCon. You can find more on that conference, TechCon.
Oh yeah.
TechConGlobal.com.
Yeah.
They're doing an event in Austin this week. For those of you listening, it will be last week. But they also have an event coming up in San Diego. They also have it in San Francisco. But you can find out more at TechConGlobal.com. And Brian, he invited me to be the host of that.
Oh, really?
That great show. Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna give a shot here to the. Oh, you got no light there at all.
yeah, good
All
attempt.
right.
Good
I have
attempt.
Fessel's card here, and I was trying to give a shot to the audience on YouTube. Oh, speaking of YouTube, Brian, for anybody that's watching right now, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, will you? Because we want to build our audience, and that helps the algorithm to understand where to send people.
That's what I was trying to set you up for earlier.
Oh,
about
really?
Finding your face. You know, you want to follow that face. Yeah. Go to YouTube and hit that follow.
And if you're listening on Spotify or more probably Apple Podcasts, go ahead and hit the follow button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to do that.
Helps us to see who's watching and what we're doing.
All right. Check out TechConGlobal.com. And also,
When is that happening?
That is happening. Well, actually, this week, which when you all hear it, it'll be next
Last week.
Yeah, last week. And then we have another one coming up in San Diego and San Francisco. So please check it out. And
Yeah. I feel like you're pulling the curtain back on the veil here that we aren't live in front of a huge studio audience, which sometimes, don't you think people are fooled by that?
no.
What, are you getting a
No.
phone call right now?
No, I'm turning off my phone. No, I'm turning off my Sorry. We're doing things in real time. All right. Hey, let's
Brian's
go.
just checked out for a minute.
Yeah, welcome to Silicon Valley Impact, everybody. Let's get back on track here. I'm your host, Brian Sparks. The purpose of the show is to have honest conversations about what it takes to build great businesses and communities so that you can make an impact within your own. All right.
Hey, we're back on, you and I, we're back together again.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're the best. All right, let's
Yeah.
get our audience. Let's get our audience engaged with our guests today. We have Daniel and Jonathan. Good to see you both. Thanks for coming out.
Thank
Yeah.
you for having
Thank you
us.
for inviting.
Yeah, good to see you guys. I know there's a lot of bantering between Brian and I, but I know you guys were bantering earlier. So we'll talk all about what you were talking about before the show because you guys were deep in conversations. But so that our audience can get brought up to speed in true Silicon Valley impact fashion. I don't do bios. So Daniel, I'll let you go first. Give a little introduction about who you are and what you're working on.
Well, who am I would be like, I'm a community builder.
Well, give me your full name. Give me your full name.
Danil Kislinskiy.
Yes.
Originally from Russia. 12 years in the Bay Area. I am like a Silicon Valley mindset guy, which like totally shares the community values where helping others is a real thing.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I know Silicon Valley actually shaped me 12 years ago. And because of that, I think I'm a community first entrepreneur who loves transmitting values to people to help each other in business and in other things.
Yeah.
And I love building companies. So I build large communities. I unite people. I do events. I do startups. I do investments. So all this within my company and my businesses. So called Go Global World. It's a first large community of founders and investors, like sort of digital Silicon Valley, and it was the foundation for everything I do. We like built a platform where we have thousands of investors and startups where we connect, and we have different types of avenues we take in the business, including the investment in startups. But what really my passion is to build community and events for the people who are building something in the world, like creating value. Like when you create a startup, it's something, some value, some idea you have to solve someone's problem. And I want to help those people because they inspired me a lot, and I want to inspire others with that.
Well, you and I are going to geek out a lot today, and we're going to bring Jonathan in on this conversation. One of those things you do very well, you've done a number of things, is you've taken all of these, what are usually separate projects, go-to-market strategies, investments, but you've learned to kind of stack them and bring multiple resources and values to those you help. So I love that. I'm going to start coining a phrase, Brian. There's, and Jonathan, you can chime in on this. Sure. Going to market for startups is like a chess game. It's a little bit different, but going to market has this connotation of selling, which is fine. It's always been that you gotta put food on the table. You gotta survive. That's in the end what it's about. But I really believe it begins. The GTM means a little bit something different than to you and I. It's not going to market, but giving to market.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
Yeah, there's this give.
You just blew my mind.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I love when I compliment myself.
Yeah.
But there's this idea of how much value can I provide you so that we can do better together.
Absolutely.
So you heard it here first.
Absolutely.
Brian, give it to market. I'm going to make that a thing.
Yeah.
It's my
How
TED
can I
Talk.
impact the world with this?
All right, Jonathan, good to see you. Let's look to you. You've got a startup. Love what you're working on and love what you were sharing earlier with Danil, but we'll geek out on that. And again, so please let our audience know a little bit about you.
Well, I appreciate the time here, Brian. So I'm Jonathan Padilla. I'm the founder of Exonome. And Exonome is actually a playoff of economy because I actually wanted to help stimulate the economy during the COVID crisis to have big ideas get to market faster. Exonome is what I call exchange infrastructure. It's a whole new category that I've kind of coined. But the genesis of Exonome is because I was my own marketplace operator starting 25 years ago when I launched my own brand called tennismachinerentals.com.
Tennis Machine Rentals. That'll take a few people back. Yeah.
So the idea behind Tennis Machine Rentals, and I'll do the short story, is that I had bought this expensive equipment to help improve my game. I was also volunteering and teaching tennis to the underserved communities in San Francisco. As I worked with the youth and adults, I was thinking, these folks might love the game of tennis, but most likely they will never have access to a ball machine because they're cost prohibitive. And so I had this idea, and I came from the .com boom. I was on the agency side, know how to build websites, build applications, and do digital marketing. And I said, and I was always a kind of an entrepreneur. I was like, I think I'm going to build this brand that I can own with the intent of allowing my asset to be accessible to the public. And so I created the brand and I created the application to allow someone to reserve my single machine. Fast forward, what has transpired is that side hustle actually helped me get through COVID because it was a way for me to make passive income, but it became a marketplace, a very niche marketplace, where I enabled others that had these assets to be able to be discoverable. And that is the genesis of Exonome. Exonome, first, before I coined my brand, I wanted to build tools for myself to just be able to launch ideas faster. So as a technologist, I better do it smarter and more efficient.
Yeah.
So it was an internal tool set. But as COVID started to become more real, I wanted to help others be able to find their passion and give them capabilities to be able to say, hey, I'm really good at this, or my community, I'm very entrenched in my community, and there needs to be someone that can aggregate or connect all of these resources. And that's what Exonome was. It was the beginning.
So it's just to kind of clarify, because we're going to do a deep dive. You're going to give your pitch and all that. So you have kind of double clicked on what was working for the tennis ball machine and kind of scaled that out.
Yes.
And you've realized that there's this economic development play within that process.
Yes.
And you also said two other things. And of course, Danil, we can geek out on this as well.
Absolutely.
But you've bootstrapped as a startup and you've designed the category. And I really think that we're in the day of in a time in our lives where with all this AI, category design is really going to be the advantage you have as a company, because otherwise you're just going to fall into the noise.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I was able to succeed with tennis machine rails 20 years ago because I had domain authority with those. But now it's really hard to cut through and try to compete with some of these terms like marketplaces and so forth.
So we'll talk a little bit about those two things, the bootstrap and category design, in your strategy, because you think very uniquely, and that's why I wanted you to be here, because I love what you're doing, love what you're creating, and again, in true Silicon Valley impact people fashion, we have great people. So that's what I've loved about having both of you here. You guys really fit the bill as great people. Let's start here for our audience, the entrepreneurs that are out there, even the VCs. Both you have been really good. And Daniel, you've talked about this in your opening. Let's talk about the community building aspect of this. So Daniel, talk a little bit about when you came over, because never mind about starting a business, you came over here and built a life.
Right.
And so what was kind of your journey from 12 years back, and then your mindset of like, okay, I need to get to Silicon Valley? What were you doing before there, and what was kind of the decision process, and what did it take to land here and grow the roots that you did? That was a big question. You can jump in anywhere.
This is the story that was like really painful, and I give you like the main highlights of this. But initially, before coming here, I worked at a large American corporation called Philip Morris International. It's a well-known American tobacco company, and I made my career. So they hired me when I was like really young, back in Yekaterinburg, like Ural Mountains, and it was probably one of the best jobs you could land in there. And I had amazing career in there. They gave me all the business skills I needed to learn. And so long story short, I've got to Moscow headquarters after 2 years of working in the company. And they gave me the project nobody wanted to work on, because in the sales organization, you got to sell. They gave me the project where you need to prevent sales, because it was like to prevent illicit trade of tobacco products going from one country to the other.
Did you say prevent sales? Like
prevent. Exactly.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, if you see excessive sales happening, that's not abnormal sales. There's something is happening, and we got to prevent that, because they are breaking the law, and we need to find ways how to prevent that, to make sure that all this excise tax getting collected properly in each country. Because if you smuggle product from low tax country to the high tax country, there is huge upside you get like in a very short period of time. And European countries were extremely upset about that. So I was the one at 21 to solve the problem.
Well, I'm curious, did that take you into any interesting situations? I mean, were you just doing this from a remote office, or are you out there in the field tracking these things down?
So the whole point here was they put me on a project nobody wanted to work on, because it's like the end of the career, because in the sales organization...
21 years old, let's put the kid on the project.
Well, that makes total sense, doesn't it?
Right.
He's expendable.
I never been on technical project like that. I have no clue about illicit trade or something, but, I didn't had any... it was like an opportunity. So my eyes were like, that's my project. I wanted to do something, and because the project was not like high priority for them, I had full independence. So I literally became an entrepreneur within the organization with a decent budget, and I could deploy this project across the country. So long story short, we deployed it across 123 cities across Russia and some other countries. And it was like hardware, software. We trained people, and I was fully involved in deploying that the right way. So I went my success was like I went to do like market tests like locally. I learned to do it in there, and so long story short, and then we reached like outstanding performance. So they took me to to Switzerland headquarters. So there I could deploy this project globally. I had my team in Canada, Turkey, and Senegal. By the way, I went to Senegal.
So you were really preventing sales. You were really doing well.
So I actually
Preventing excessive
protected
sales.
sales.
Yeah.
I would say I protected
Illicit
customers and
sales.
protected sales against like wrongdoing of somebody who is like real criminals, basically.
Got it.
And that gave me a learning curve on how to do real business from like understanding the whole thing from 0 to 1. And then they gave me an opportunity to build a corporate university, so to train the organization to become internal entrepreneurs.
So let me click on that really quick, because you always find the little jewels in people's stories. And when we talk about kind of how you build it, I'm going to do this to you too. Mm-hmm. You said 0 to 1 is right. You learned. So for our startups that are listening now, what are one or two high-level things you learned from that experience? And feel free to integrate what you've learned since to it. But I think really that's from your experience. One of the things, if you can just think of one thing that founders really need to hear, like what does it take to go 0 to 1?
Okay. The only one key reason I was successful in that project and why my career was so successful versus the other guys in the other countries is that instead of waiting for this project to be tested by internal teams and one department, the other department, everything. So I was leading that. I took this project as is and went to the customer who were supposed to use this. And I wanted to see them struggle with this product, to give me all the insights and feedback from the field based on the real thing. And so I was collecting all the notes because I could not be an expert in the thing that somebody is going to use it. I wanted to see how they use it, how their process works, where they struggle. And I gave this feedback to our headquarters in Switzerland.
Okay, let's park there for a second. And then, of course, I want to fast forward to where you are now because you're building so much stuff. What you did, if you can't see a problem, I'm not saying that you couldn't, but in the moment, if you don't understand how the user is going to use your product, this is what you need to do. Because I think really one thing we talked about on last week's show was empathy, the power to really understand the problem and solve the problem the customer is having rather than build something and go out looking for somebody who might be able to use this. You were really gathering information on the pain point. Exactly. So that you could have a deep understanding on where the biggest pain was and how to then improve how the customer engaged in it. Am I?
That is right. So hypothesis without validation is just hallucination,
Oh, wow.
So,
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, let's say that one more time.
You want me to say it one more time?
Yes, please, repeat it. Everyone needs to hear it.
Hypothesis without validation is hallucination.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned. And that's exactly made me who I am. So whatever I build, whatever idea I have, is always go first check with the customer because he's my boss, he's my expert, and this is how I'm going to get the money for my business if I understand the customers right.
And I want to back that up just a little bit though, because there's so much going on here with this Philip Morris story, honestly. I mean, first of all, I find it fascinating that you were hired to do a job that corporate really didn't care about in a way, right? Like my point being, you were left to do something that nobody really thought you were going to do or could do. I think it sounded like there was a vacancy that was filled to check a box. And the bigger point is that you took that opportunity, you saw it as an opening for you to do something, and you had the agency to go and do that. This is something I think that's really important, is seeing the fact that you had room to run downfield and taking advantage of that and building something, whether they told you to or not. You weren't given instructions to build what you built, right? And I think when you're talking, Brian, about what the entrepreneurial mindset is, I think that often we don't know enough in our hearts to be able to say, this is something I can do. I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
Well, let me give you an example, real life example of this. And we're not trying to hijack the show here with our two great guests, but I got to talk about this entrepreneurship idea.
We got nothing but time.
Yeah, this entrepreneurship idea and what Danil is talking about here is if you are in corporate, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had over the last 2 years with VPs, directors and up, VPs, who have volunteered to do the research on implementation of the AI strategy. A lot of people don't want to take on that project by, okay, what is going to be our company strategy for AI? But some brave soul, kind of like your experience, goes, I'll do it. And then goes out and kind of just asks the questions, looks for the validations. What is the best? And this is an excellent example of the mindset necessary to build within that, because now we have the benefit of hindsight, will then position you for the capacity to build outside. So if you can build inside in the entrepreneurship capacity by seeing an opportunity, much like the AI opportunity right now, and how your company uses it, you can take that skill set and build a company.
Yeah, I would add to that okay, my mindset is my mindset, but also the company itself is really powerful, and the management around me, despite they gave me this project, and I mean, nobody told me that this is the project where my career ends or something, but I mean, there is something you feel in the air, right? But what I'm grateful for, I had an amazing management I worked with because they gave me the resource.
The team,
The team. And I was not trained for this project. I didn't have the right skill set for that. I was young. I was just like full of energy to really change the world. And so I made a lot of mistakes, but because they trusted me, they gave me the resource, I learned from them. I had a lot of independence, but at the same time, when I needed a resource, not money or something, but expertise, the right language, the right tactic to negotiate, they were there for me. So I grew in the company with the company. So this company gave me a lot of skill set, and especially the people I worked with. So I learned from them a lot. So then because of them, I jumped forward and I got into Switzerland as one of very few people from our country back then. It's not just because I was smart, something. That was the path together with people. So working on a team, together with the team, you can succeed. But trust from them to me was another resource that I'm so grateful.
So for our founders, again, this idea of having the right team, right? You evaluating company, you want to know about the team, but the other component of the community around you. So you can have that inner team, the people, Brian, teammate, and then you have the community building around you. You're going to rise together.
Exactly.
And I love that strategy. Go ahead, Brian.
This is a message to all people involved, right? I think you got lucky just a little bit that you had those people show up and support you, because I've heard stories of management, upper management, middle management, maybe telling you the opposite, like, hey, you're supposed to be doing something else. Don't be wasting your time on that. And so you got lucky that you had somebody who encouraged you and supported you to do that. Hey, Brian, I'm gonna just take a quick break for our sponsor message.
Let's do it.
And then we're gonna come right back. Can you hold on one second?
Yes, sir.
Cheers.
Take us away.
Okay.
All right, Brian, thank you for doing that for us.
Yeah.
We're coming right back. Sorry, Danil, we cut you off. So please finish. We were talking about, having the team around you. Brian,
we spent the first 15, 20 minutes of the show just talking about his first job when he was like 20.
Yeah, and I think here's my take. Brian, you pointed out that there was a little luck involved with having a great organization around him to support him. But when you're outside the organization, you can't rely on luck. You've got to pick the winners to play with. And that's why we talk a lot about, good people here and finding those who are hungry, humble, and smart. So talk a little bit about, and then Jonathan, I want to come to you a little bit to not finish up, but give us a little kind of closed loop about how you landed in Silicon Valley. And then we're going to come back to your strategy of building community.
Well, just wrapping up on Philip Morris part, I just was succeeding with that project. I went to Switzerland. We deployed globally. I had like a few countries I leaded that project in. And then I deployed. Then I worked on corporate university. So we just changed the mindset of people. So we train people how to start their own businesses if they were to start their business, so they can own the problem, not just follow the job description. And because of all this background I got.
That. Yeah.
I actually understood that actually I can run my own business. And this is the time for me to do something myself. So I was thinking of Silicon Valley, and that's one of the places. So I went here. So I quit the job. Everyone was like, why are you doing this? Like, you have a good career. No, I mean, because that's my next step. And I
wanted to build something, and the best place was here.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. And but it was really, really difficult in the beginning.
Well, let's leave that as a hook. That's a great hook. It was difficult in the beginning. So I'm going to come back to that because I want to know, once you touched down, what were you thinking? Yeah, you're smiling. I'm like, I can't wait to tell you that. So Jonathan, I want to bring you in because you had your same journey, right? You had the company that identified, utilizing the tennis balls, but what kind of developed your entrepreneurial and founder mindset? Where did this come from within you? And then we'll kind of hand that off to our audience.
Yeah. So I actually, my father was a immigrant from the Philippines, and like many cultures, the parents want their kids to, if they're coming to the States, they either want them to be very risk averse and do the typical, hey, you got to be an engineer, which my dad was. My mom was a nurse. But I think my entrepreneurism came through the fact that my dad was one of these rare folks that's like, hey, he dabbled into a lot, even as an immigrant here. And I saw that. I saw him succeed. I saw him fail. And that kind of gave me that DNA in me to like do the same. And so I started my career in the corporate in the mid 90s, working on the internet. And that's been my background. I'm helping brands go online. I came through the agency route. I went through big tech. I was also on the brand side. But 5 years ago, when I started Exonome, and Tennis Machine Rails had already started, right? This was an idea. This was a side hustle for me. But the whole point of taking risk, I think, is very important as a founder, right? And to kind of follow up on the question of, what's the one key nugget to take away? You got to get to market. You got to get your idea to market. Is if you can afford the validation, great. When I had the tennis machine idea, I had a hypothesis. I had some conversations with the folks, my audience, what they were struggling with, like not having access, and I ran with it. And I developed that. I became kind of the tide of detergent for tennis ball machine rentals. So I established myself. But I think now, especially with AI, it's so easy to get ideas to market. And it's really about just getting, going to market and just test and learn. But at the end of the day, I believe like taking those risks, right? Whether you can validate them or not, that's great. What I loved about in my corporate side, working on the agency, for some of you folks that might remember, and they're still around, Razorfish, they were well known for user experience design, which meant a lot of research, right? A lot of validation on the pain points of the problem. And so I learned that coming through the Razorfish agency and kind of applied that. In the last 5 years, I've taken lots of risks. I left a comfortable, position in big tech. Ageism is real. I was looking for that next kind of gig. And then what happened during COVID just made it even worse. But my side hustle, the tennis machine business, that small hustle just blew up.
So a little bit of kind of timing and luck kind of involved,
right?
Where you were, phasing out of corporate, but yet, this was getting traction.
Exactly. I was getting signals. People during COVID, like myself, were trying to hustle. There were so many folks that are like calling me and contacting me. It's like, I've got to make, additional income. I've got this asset sitting in my garage. I don't know how to build a website, but you obviously have a network. How can I plug in?
So let me say this really quick, because again, I love grabbing the nuggets. In your situation, and I think in our lifetime, the deck is going to get reshuffled. Things are going to happen. And those who are able to play the game and not I think a lot of people hold on to the things that they have. And then when they're removed unexpectedly, they're not positioned mentally, because Daniel, you're talking about the mindset. They're not positioned to see the opportunity. They go through a long grieving process, which is fine. I get it. I get it. It needs to happen. but some of it needs to be compartmentalized for the purpose of opportunity continuity. And so just because one thing is gone doesn't mean a ton of other doors aren't going to open up to you. And you just pivoted essentially. And I'm sure you were like, man, I dedicated so much of my life here. It was sad, a little bit of stressful. What's going to happen now? But you had opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people who are listening need to see that, whether it's an unexpected job loss, other opportunities in life, that there's going to always be a door if you have the right mindset to walk through.
And it kind of comes back to how community is so important. What I had created was this niche community of owners of tennis machines that wanted to make their purchase work for them. And I had created that network, but I was also getting calls from tennis players, coaches, and asking me, hey, would this machine work out in this situation? I became that trusted expert when I wasn't expecting it, but I had built that community, right?
Yeah.
And so what my belief in community is everywhere. It's internal to organizations. I think during the .com, I was given accolades because when folks were getting Audi TTs as a signing bonus, I was able to retain my talent, my engineering talent, because I had built what I felt was a strong community within my team. They wanted to stay with me during some of the most competitive times.
And I think again, double clicking on great insight from you guys, this is where social capital is often greatly overlooked. A lot of people, again, I have a great idea. Now I'm going to go sell it. Fine. That's a salesman, right? Or saleswoman. What you both did strategically was make relationships and then had the mindset to cultivate those relationships. Yes. Not necessarily because you need something in the moment, but because I mean, I don't know, maybe I can come back to you. Like, there's this other mentality around the value of people.
I think your GTM, giving to the market, embodies what I believe Exonome is about. It's about giving tools, capabilities, so that others can create the connections, be the ones to uplift everyone else within their own community, their own networks, right? As the trusted operator.
Okay, I'm going to write an article about this concept of give to market. All right, let's talk. Let's open this up a little bit more. You both have great, insights from your experience. Daniel, I'm going to come back to you. You landed in Silicon Valley. That was a tease earlier. A lot of people land in Silicon Valley, and the speed at which things happen is often what I hear. And so in order for you to catch up, to get going in the direction you want to go, what was kind of your strategy when you touched down here? And then pivot real quickly into opening up that strategy, because you've built a lot of community, you continue to give, you continue to pour into people and build those relationships.
Well, let's be honest. When you land in Silicon Valley, you don't always have the right idea, or you have an idea to do. And like many people come here inspired with the idea of Silicon Valley, and they were like, I gotta build something. So I was one of those, let's call it dreamers, but with business experience. And then when I came here, I realized that there are so many smart people, so I've got this anxiety of like, what do I do? Like, how can I succeed if there's so many successful guys? So my strategy initially was to try all the things that I haven't tried, just to learn, to get to the community, so to gain my own personal experience from whatever things I would do. And then I landed here as a student at the Lincoln University. I was doing my doctorate in business administration. And also in parallel, I was at Stanford Engineering School, Tom Kosnick class at New Venture Creation. So that gave me some exposure to local entrepreneurs. Like, I learned from them what they do. But then I realized that actually I have way more experience than many of those entrepreneurs who I interacted with. And so Tom Kosnick also saw that. And after the program, which he invited me graciously at no charge to his class. I was like one of the luckiest, I think. And he invited me to be a mentor at Stanford for his class, and he had so many other classes. So I helped students to succeed building their projects, and many of them were working on their startups. And I'm just one of the first success I had at one of my teams was preparing for the Stanford Shark Tank thing, and they were like they were like invited me like a day before their pitch to show me what they're gonna do, and it was total disaster. So I worked with them like say 5 hours to help them to get prepared.
The guys and gals who were pitching their idea.
Right, and for Steve Blank in the room, like
Yeah.
was one of those, and they actually won the show. But the day before, they were like absolutely unprepared. So I realized that actually, when I was trying to do something, people were helping me a lot in Silicon Valley. I didn't understand why. Like for example, Tom Kosnick was one of those who invited me. Like random guy out of the blue to his class. I was like, okay, I'm taking the opportunity, of course. But then I realized that this is how Silicon Valley works, and so I started helping guys there. Then outside Stanford, I started helping a lot of entrepreneurs, and then I realized that I have some skills that I can give, like go-to-market strategy. I'm really good at go-to-market strategy. I'm really good at sales, so I can share the skills, help entrepreneurs to succeed. People appreciated that. They started helping me back, and it became so many of them. So then I realized that, okay, that's the time probably I cannot help like everyone now. I gotta do something more than that. And then I saw that actually something is lacking, is like access to Silicon Valley for aspiring entrepreneurs, newcomers, and even local entrepreneurs are not so well connected sometimes. So I decided to build digital Silicon Valley, a community where founders help founders. An initial thesis was that I don't believe that the smartest people are only in Silicon Valley. They actually are around the world. And it's unfair if you are not able to come to Silicon Valley. You don't have access to network, resources, connections, expertise. In the age of like not just internet but AI, it has to be already so easy. Like Silicon Valley has to be global. It's not just the place, but it's also the mindset. And with that, I started my community and united so many people here. We became the door to Silicon Valley, but also now we have people like with the same mindset around the world.
So let me tell you about Danil's energy right now. Next week we're going to have a guest here. His name's he's Rich. You'll meet him next week. But we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. It's going to be a great topic. But what I'm hearing here is something that Rich and I were talking yesterday on the phone, and he said to me, it's just a quote from somebody else he shared, and you exemplify this. What I'm about ready to say, both of you exemplify this, and a lot of the good people that come on the show exemplify this. They realize that IQ without EQ is a waste. And what that means is you could be the smartest person in the room, surrounded by smart people. But if you don't have the emotional intelligence to start connecting dots, building relationships, building up others, giving, empathizing that you said earlier, then the IQ doesn't have a vehicle to make a big impact. You may be good on a subject, but doesn't mean you can build the team. Doesn't mean you can go to market. Doesn't mean you can build relationships. Doesn't mean you can raise the round. It's just a complete waste. And what you just said about landing in Silicon Valley, world over, is true with, if not all, most the immigrants and the good people that come in here, that they come with this giving spirit, with this gratitude. How can I help? And I've been on Stanford. I've been through programs there as well. And I know the good people that are there. They're great role models. And it doesn't surprise me that they asked you to be a mentor. And I think that is really what every founder needs to hear. Every VC needs to hear is to give first. Find where you can be of value to others, build the relationship, and then all things will be added.
And ask nothing back, give it genuinely. And people would appreciate it. And this will come back to you in like so much more.
Brian, I need the old NBC, the more you know sound effect to air every time I say...
I'll see if I can track that down for you. Hey, since I have your attention, I'm going to take another quick break.
All right, take us away, Brian. Yeah.
Hold on just one
Thanks,
second.
buddy.
Yep. Wasn't prepared, so now I have to do my own thing. Brian, we're back.
All right. I love it when we're back. All right. Great conversation.
Brian just sits and mopes every time we turn the mics off.
I know. It's like
when are the mics going to be back on? All right, go ahead. You're on.
All right, we're rolling again. All right, so we're here with Danil and Jonathan, and we're diving into some insights of their experience, extracting the nuggets so that you as an audience member can deploy these strategies and mindsets in your own life and hopefully move the needle. Because I think what's unique about the startup game is it's like chess. You can have a really good strategy in one game, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to take the next. And so it's constantly moving, but really the best strategy in moving anything forward in life is what we're talking about today. It's building relationships and learning. I love that conversation about validation in whatever it is that you do. And I wanted to say, as you were talking about that, I think if you're married, learning validation from your significant other is just as important. So I just wanted to drop that in. Jonathan,
Yeah.
I want to hear what you're working on.
Yeah.
Now, I know you touched on it, but if you were pitching, and aside, you're bootstrapping at this point, so you're not raising, obviously, but give our audience a 1 minute to 2 minute quick pitch on what you're building.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Exonome, a new category that I'm creating called exchange infrastructure. What I'm trying to do is actually enable trusted operators. I've got 3 gentlemen here that are trusted operators as examples to actually bring together and go to market easily with a capability to create a digital structure that can bring together valuable resources. And it doesn't start with commerce always. I had started with commerce. I built the infrastructure to power my marketplace ideas. But what I've learned is that my current customer base, there's a pattern of trust first, monetization later, if it makes sense. And so I'm getting customers that they have networks, they have membership-based networks, they have communities, and they're just trying to bring together resources, knowledge, contacts. And that's an example of an opportunity that Exonome can power. I try to remove the barriers so you don't have to worry about the infrastructure, the payments, the payouts if you decide to do monetization, but inviting and curating trusted providers right into your exchange. That's what I'm doing.
All right. Nice. Hey, applause.
I'm looking at. Sorry, that was very brief because I was considering what's going on, and I'm also looking for you. What's the? How do I find you on the internet?
Yeah. So if you go to www.exono.me, so exono.me. So I kind of was a little creative on taking advantage of these domains, but Exonome.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
So, Danil, you heard the pitch.
Yeah.
Go ahead and ask a few questions as from the investor's perspective. I got a few questions. I'll follow up with one. But if you are an investor listening to this pitch, what is one of the first questions that come to mind for you?
Yeah, I have a few. First, how big is your market for that, and who are your competitors?
Right. So I'll start off with the competitors. So when I actually had this idea, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was like, who's doing this? I have this idea. There are platform software providers that allow someone to create a marketplace. The differentiator is that they force you into either becoming a pure rental marketplace, a pure product-centric marketplace. But I have some unique capabilities and features that allow me to differentiate. The TAM, SOM, I'm infrastructure, so I actually have clients in different industries, different verticals, but the pattern or the need is very common. We've got to bring together resources and they need to be discoverable, right? So that's been the challenge, to be honest, is when I talk to investors like, what's your first beachhead? Well, I have traction in sports communities. I have traction in nonprofits, residential, is another industry that I have traction in. I actually really don't care. I'm trying to help the folks that bring the problems and saying, hey, maybe Exonome could be a solution for your problem in this either vertical or this large category or industry.
You mentioned residential. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I have a nonprofit called Echo. They're the number one advocacy and education. They provide education and advocacy for HOAs. And they were very excited about what Exonome could do. I have an offering where Exonome could be white labeled. So I'm actually helping them power their own digital product. But every HOA is a community in itself. And Exonome allows my client, Echo, to be able to offer this offering to their memberships to ultimately provide added value. And at the end of the day, within each exchange or HOA that has their unique exchange, There are service providers that want to have access to this qualified audience. So I've actually helped unlock revenue for my nonprofit, right? They are trying to find new ways to still add value to their membership, but they've got to keep the lights on in their existing program. So they're thinking differently.
Right. I have one more question.
I got a ton too. Go ahead. I'll let you lead it. You're the honored guest.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Like the main question I love asking and like in deeper understand from investor perspective, why you? Like who is your team? Like why are you guys the best in the world to solve this problem versus others in the market? So why would I invest in you, in this team, so then you can actually build on and succeed?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have been running my own marketplaces for the last 20 years. So just having that insight of an operator, right, to begin with, I think what I bring to the table as a founder is I'm a tech founder, where I can actually, I built MVP, I built version 1. But I've also, from my consulting background, bring a lot of the digital marketing, digital strategy, e-commerce thinking, and ultimately the need if you're going to launch a brand or launch a online community or digital experience. I think that business experience is also coupled with my technology background is kind of giving me a leg up to just get these ideas to market.
Do you have co-founders?
I do not have any co-founders at this point, but always kind of, I'm very open to seeing if there's, someone that can complement my background and my experience. But
so you said that you built the thing that's the first MVP. So you have technical background. Did you build technical projects before?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I was a solution architect individual during the .com bomb. I became an IC as a developer engineer, but I was running engineering talent for my career. I've always dabbled in development. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. The challenge here is, I would love to know more details, but the challenge here that I hear that you're a solo founder, and it's for some VCs, it's a little bit like a red flag.
Yeah.
So, and it does mean that it's something bad or something. There are good number of solo founders succeeded, but because of that, I would actually need to dig even deeper into details to understand all the root cause of why you started this and how you're succeeding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions too, and of course we'll move on from this. But one of the questions I have, if I was kind of hearing this on the first round, is number one, it's around defensibility. With everything that's popping up now with AI, what is unique about the system that you're creating? That would be one. Two, it sounds like you have a customer-consumer issue. So you have the people who would use it, and then they're deploying it to theirs. And how do you monetize that? Mm-hmm. So I think I'll just start there because I got a few others.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if we were really doing kind of a pitch, we'd want to know revenue and things like that. But for our audience, for educational purposes, talk about the defensibility piece. Is this just AI wrapper, or is there an operating system involved? And then, of course, that customer-consumer issue and how you have set up how are you monetizing this?
Sure. So I'll start off with the AI because obviously AI is the big thing right now. Mm-hmm. But I don't lead with AI. I incorporate AI into capabilities. I'm infrastructure. So my moat is actually not dependent on my end customers' need to create demand, right? They already are, they're finding me because they have a problem to solve, right? I have cases where it's B2B, B2B2C, B2B2B, right? Where I'm applying AI, of course, generative AI, we have features that help write copy, write legal terms and conditions, privacy as a starting point, help writing merchandising copy. Because if you think about a marketplace, there's e-commerce, and it's like, how do you present your offering so that you can quickly convert? But what I'm actually excited about, if you hear about marketplaces, the problem is the cold start problem. So we are looking at solving that cold start problem by creating our own models, obviously enriched with a lot of data that's already out there, to build the recommendations or the suggestions of, hey, this provider would love to be on your exchange because that's the audience that you're focused on. And, Andrew Chen with A16 wrote a lot about the cold start problem. And it's very clear that is, if you're going to start a marketplace, that's if you don't have supply side, where do you start? So
We'll briefly, for the sake of audience participation and understanding, give a little, definition and blurb about what that means to cold start.
Yeah. So cold start is, it's kind of like the chicken and an egg. If you've got this marketplace, you've got maybe one side, the audience, the consumer, right? You wouldn't want to perhaps launch without having a supply side, right? Like there's no, they're going to be disappointed because there's like maybe very few providers or choices that they have. The other side is, hey, the opportunity that Exonome is, I've got a lot of perhaps folks that have built the trust and they have their own ecosystems of providers, but now they're like, we need to get these providers discoverable to our audience. So that's another perhaps opportunity. But if you have both sides, both the supply and the audience, it's kind of a really it's easier to get into and actually get started. So that's the at the highest level of how I would describe the cold start. So we're trying to help folks with great ideas say, hey, I want to do something in this for this community, or I have this solopreneur that wants to do something like find the white space, but they don't have the supply side. So we're hoping to with AI to be able to create that bridge, those recommendations of other providers and sellers that want to get into these exchanges.
So I got to ask, this is for you actually, and connect our audience to you. Who is your ideal client?
My ideal client, so trusted. Right now, I'm getting a lot of traction with my ICP is trusted operators, folks already believe and trust as experts, or whether they're sharing their resources, their contacts. That has actually given me some quick wins when folks realize the power of Exonome and like, hey, I can actually, I built the audience, I built the trust, but now I need to actually connect my resources to my audience. A lot of these trusted operators are like forwarding emails or sharing text messages or whatever. They don't have a durable structure that they could just point their audience and say, hey, here's my exchange. If you want to talk to this individual, they're all here, and you could discover all these types of assets. You could convert or transact if there's a trusted provider that gets invited. You can start to create this ecosystem, right? Okay. And to answer how I monetize, so Exonome was built on performance base for the tenant speech. I didn't make money until a booking happened, and this is 25 years ago or 20 years ago. I'm like, hey, look, there's no reason to charge my partners if they're not getting a booking. So I've always been performance-based. That kind of idea continued, but how Exonome monetizes, I allow folks to white label and use Exonome.
Interesting.
And then they can build their own economic structure to then claw back the costs, but then hopefully they're finding ways to unlock revenue themselves.
And they can learn more about what this looks like in terms of user experience by going to Exonome,
EXONO.me. And then I have a link there called Exchanges, and I've got some live clients there that they could see what that user experience. So if you think about a typical marketplace, Etsy, Fiverr, cards displayed, that's what most shoppers
as trusted partners
Exactly.
in this environment. So I'm thinking, like, for you, Brian, you know a million people. You are a connector. You're out there in the community all the time. You know the good ones. You could put a Brian Sparks, you could put a Brian Sparks community together and have this curated list of people on your list that people could go and say, oh, I want to know who Brian knows. Well, they could just go here and find out who you know because you've already put them entered them into this database.
That's right. That is correct.
Definitely gonna
Yeah.
Go ahead. You had something.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, are you just focusing on sports segment
No.
or just any segment?
Any problem where there's a need to aggregate resources, right? It could be coming from a sports community. It could be coming from a nonprofit. It could be coming from a small, medium brand business or brand that says, I need to amplify my brand. I've actually got kind of an affiliate solution. So I'm agnostic to the industry vertical, right? What I enjoy is enabling others that have business ideas to be able to launch their business ideas, and that knowing that Exonome can actually power their idea.
I think you're onto something for
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah.
Exonome. I'm looking it up right now.
It's
I want to play.
We're all just going down the sinkhole here.
The history
Well,
is.
but I mean, when you see it live, it makes a little bit more sense as to how this community is represented and shown on the screen and how you can
All right,
participate.
Brian, give me the link again. I'm the slow kid in the class. I'm copying
you were
off your
not-
notes.
Why you do that? The Exonome brand is because when I thought about it and what I was trying to do, which was to stimulate others to build the economy, especially during COVID and the crisis, and we have a crisis right now, is I couldn't get economy.com. I found Exonome is something kind of unique, but it actually has some Latin roots to some exonumatic currency in Latin. So economy, right? So
EXONO.
Wait,
XONO.
Oh, there it is.
.me.
I left out the O.
And then if you go to up the top, there's exchanges.
Exchange infrastructure for trusted operators.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. So those of you listening, go check it out. Neat stuff. Let's talk. Okay, let's pivot a little bit. Okay, we're geeking off of your platform here, so we'll move on. But I want to talk about with both of you. I mean, one thing, Jonathan, that you've done is you've bootstrapped. You've done this category design. I want to talk a little bit about bootstrapping. What are some skills that you've built around that? But Daniel, I want to ask you. You've poured a lot of time into creating events. You've built out a big network. Why has this been such a big play for you?
Right. Well, I have entrepreneurship spirit, I think. I wanted to create something that can impact many people. And since I really learned how Silicon Valley operates, I wanted to bring this experience to wider audience. And my initial strategy was to unite people through community, through real values that I initially thought would be very appealing. And so I decided to build a community of global digital Silicon Valley, where people help people. And that was part of the strategy as a foundation for any business I would do. Because everyone was like building the social clubs or something. They were charging money for this as a business model. My business model was to unite very selected people as my social capital for myself and for themselves, where they are willing to support and help each other when they need this at any moment with their expertise, connection, whatsoever needed to succeed in business. And this is like sort of Silicon Valley way. And I united like thousands of people around me, and they initially didn't know why they should help someone for free or why someone is helping them at no charge. Like, what's the catch? And then I had to be an example of giving first myself to thousands of people, literally, no joke, risking my own reputation, connecting people with whatever, Silicon Valley VC or something.
Yeah. Or most people would say lose out on financial opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
But I had a big picture in my head. Everyone was, I was 2 years full time on my community, which had no monetization model. I didn't want monetization model for this community because...
Say that number again, because I don't want to go, because this is not just something you did once.
Right.
You showed up continuously at this point for 2 years.
for 2 years
Yeah.
since 2020, like COVID, like right before COVID, it started. Like I was like a little delaying to start because I was like not sure, like everyone, like have this first moment. But then like it's time. So I kicked this off. I announced that first people joined, and I started working on that. And the first time it was really difficult for people to understand why somebody is giving them so much help at no charge. What's the catch? But then once people started realizing, they started supporting and joining. And because I am not a native English speaker, or like I'm not. I was born in Russia, not in the U.S. Everyone was like recommending me, like, why would you do this in English? Do it in Russian for Russian community. No, I wanted to unite English-speaking people as an immigrant. And so that helped me to actually unite people from different parts of the world. So I started doing different chapters in different countries. At some point, I had 80 people reporting to me, like local chapter leaders in almost 80 countries, something like 50 or 80 countries. I don't remember the count. And so they were developing the community locally. But that was the wrong strategy I chose. So this is how we just expanded fast. But then I realized that it's just impossible to manage so many people, and they all wanted to speak to me, not to the community mostly.
And you were calling the community at the time. What was it?
Yeah, and that was another funny part. Exactly the naming of the company. So I named this Go Global World, and when everyone is hearing that everyone is like struggling. Go World something.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. Say it again.
Yeah. Go Global World.
Go global.
And that was the idea, is that every country that we have a chapter in, like for example, Go Global France, Go Global Australia, Go Global whatever country. And so that's why the company naming is Go Global World. So we wanted to unite local startup ecosystems because they're small, they are not successful individually, but together it's unbeatable force if you unite them. So I united.
And this was start out online.
Yes.
You weren't flying into all these countries. You
Sometimes, but not many. Mostly online. Yeah.
Okay.
GoGlobal.world. Am I right in the right place?
That is correct.
Yeah,
that is
great.
correct.
I'm going to show your website too, if that's okay.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah.
And so. For example, Shark Tank pitch event.
Yeah.
This was our flagship pitch event that connects like founders and investors from Silicon Valley. Like you literally can come and pitch to Silicon Valley investors like they do on TV, but this is in Zoom. If you're you're invited. You don't need to pay for that. And accessibility of Silicon Valley became so easy through our network.
Yeah.
As long as you are like legit startup and really like good, really willing, you have good reputation. We don't want to charge you for that. We want to help you.
Yeah.
And this is how we give access. And so people started realizing this is the place where they get a lot of support, resource. We are like a resource for them to Silicon Valley. So they started giving back. And so at some point, I stopped participating as much as before because it took off itself. So it became self-sustainable vehicle. And I just participate sometimes. But most of the thing is actually people pick up and they understand already. It's my one of the tools for Silicon Valley to.
And you started the Shark Tank when? It's not Shark Tank, but it's something. Go Global Shark. What'd you call it?
GGW Sharks. Go Global World Sharks.
Okay. And you started that. What year did you start that?
It was like 2023, 2022.
And you're still going with that?
Yeah, just taking off. It's just we are doing this. Initially, it was like online and just to have a global access. But now we have like different local cities requesting that to run it, and so many entrepreneurs. Like 2 months ago.
Let me say that right now. I want to kind of like bring this up, but let me ask this, and this is again for our founders who are listening and now hearing this portion of your life. You've heard tons of pitches.
Right.
As an investor, you've heard, people pitch to you. We got to hear Jonathan pitch a little while ago. We gave him some feedback. But what is it that you find some of those high markers for fundability as an investor? So if because you guys cut a lot of checks.
Right.
And if you're looking for a fundable company, what are some of those top tier indicators that, okay, I'm going to have a second conversation with this company and possibly cut them a check? What do you look for?
Well, large market, like possibly growing market, exceptional team, and I really need to see validation. And it's not just a hypothesis that should work. I need to see this work and why it's working, why founders are motivated. Do they have previous background, like previous exits, previous startups in this, who already they got on the board among the investors. And I understand that there are some pre-seed startups before traction. I want to see traction because this is how customers vote for your product, because they love it. They want this. They crave for this. They're willing to pay for this. That's initial first things. But the key element of all of this, because the world can change, the situation can change, you as the founder, will you be able to succeed in the hard times? Like, do you have evidence that everything goes wrong and you still on your thing?
Yeah.
I want my money to be protected. I want you to make a miracle in the situation when everything falls apart, but you succeed.
Yeah.
And if you fail, I still will bet on you. If you continue making everything possible to succeed.
I love that. And again, rewind that if you're listening. Listen to that again, because number one, continuously throughout the show, you've talked about validation. Right. What's working, listening to your customer, listening to your market, listening to your boss, listening, and validating and testing big. So again, if you're listening, let that sink in terms of going to market. Jonathan, I want to come to you high level. I wanted to ask you bootstrapping strategy. You've chosen at this point not to raise. You've bootstrapped. A lot of great founders think that, well, if I can get a high valuation, I can ask for, but that can cause problems. I mean, you get early high validation. You're setting a high bar continuously for further rounds, and it can come back and bite you.
Yeah. Why
bootstrap really quick? And then what have been some of your strategies for that?
Yeah, I have to say that, I don't think I would have been able to be in this, to have this ability to really focus the last 5 years. I've had some things work for me where I've been able to keep the lights on, but then really focus on investing in my own company. I've never paid myself yet, but all of the revenue just goes back into. So I've been able to kind of keep my partners, the folks that have been with me, busy. And to be honest, AI has really helped, take a solo founder and actually with the background that understands strategy and marketing and so forth and technology. I mean, I've been able to succeed. I'm at a point now where I'm like, my pipeline is actually scaring me, because how do you scale Jonathan? Right. So I've not actively, I don't think I've ever actively created a campaign to raise, but that's top of mind for me right now. I've got partners that are helping to sell through Exonome. I'm creating opportunities for them because they are creating a new offering themselves to as MSPs to be able to administer Exonome to their end customers, create new economies with their, they are the trusted operators, right? So yeah, I think 2026 is a focus for growth. I'm selectively thinking of, if I was to raise capital, there's many ways, whether dilutive, non-dilutive, but I just want to find the right capital partner.
Yeah, and make that decision at the right time.
That's right.
All right, so we got one more question before we head out of here. Great conversation today. Love your insights. I thought they were fantastic. I definitely want our audience to have the capacity to connect with you, because obviously connecting with you is a great connection on my part. Want to definitely connect good people. But Jonathan, starting with you, how can people connect with you?
Yeah, you can actually email me at founders@exono.me, so EXONO.me. That will reach me. I'm on LinkedIn. I've got a page for Exonome. Check out what we're doing. I've been actually a little bit more active on posting and so forth. I mean, your event was a great event for me back with James.
Oh yeah, the TechCrunch. Oh, that event. The startup grind event. Yeah.
So I've been selectively choosing marketing tactics. Found a great partner that believes in the same vision. He didn't have the technology. And so I was able to find him, and now we're going to the table with some really disruptive ideas in certain industries. I can't name them yet, but he's bringing those ideas.
More to
table.
come.
Yes.
Love it. Well, good luck to you. Thank you for being on the show.
Okay.
Danielle, how can people connect with you? And also, before we sign off, you and I are collaborating, I think, on 3 events. Looking forward to it, buddy. So yes, we have a couple events coming up at Stack at 1900 Broadway. We'll be out at Foothill in a few weeks doing an event. So you and I'm excited because you're so, I appreciate the comment earlier, by the way, but really you're crushing it, and you're the benchmark.
You're crushing it. Come on, man.
I love how you just connect with people
Thank you.
and doing what you're doing, but how can people connect with you?
Yeah, just to add on that, also Selective VC partners are also supporting us, and that's a big thing. So, our investor network is just willing to support this thing, these events that you run at Stock. I mean, you have amazing spot. Like, I love it. And I think the events you run are really impactful. So we want to support that, of course. So how to connect with me? Very simple. If you're on Go Global World community, like digital Silicon Valley community, that's where you can find me so easily. As that's one of the ways. LinkedIn, I am quite. I try to be connected with people who are requesting a connection with me on LinkedIn. I love Telegram. That's one of my favorite number one messengers ever. Not WhatsApp or Signal or whatever, Telegram. It's just because this is the way I structure my communication through that. So I have the community on Telegram as well, Go Global World on Slack. And if you want to email me, you can email me at info@goglobal.world. This is my company main email, so my team and myself are looking. I check this email myself quite often, and I respond myself quite often. And if you ever would like to meet in person, so either you can come to the events that we would run with Brian or my events, doesn't matter. I am very open to meet, to connect. So this is how we build community and support each other.
I love it. Yes, give first, and great things will happen. All right. Brian, thank you. Great job. The one and only Magic Man, Golden Voice.
Great show, you guys. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
All right. We'll see you all next week. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Stay
It was
safe.
fantastic.